Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Angie's Jungle House. Good morning, and welcome back to Angie's Jungle House. If we just ignore it, it's going to go away, so I'm going to pretend it's not here. Today I'm going to be giving you the general care tips and tricks to growing a bigger, more vibrant, healthy houseplant. I'm going to start off by telling you what tools have been beneficial to me. And the first is a 3-way meter, which measures light, the pH level of the soil, also the moisture level of the soil. And second is the Garden Eyes app, which allows you to take a picture of your specific plant as the thumbnail for it. You put in its common name, scientific name, what kind of soil it likes, pH level, what the height and width were when you bought the plant, what date you bought the plant, what date you took the picture of the plant. It gives you room to put plant notes, and it also helps with like vegetable gardens, like with seeds and whatever, when you planted them, anything you need to know. It's going to give you the areas to write down that information. Which then leads on to, before you get the plant, look it up. If you've got a plant in mind, look it up. If you're looking at a plant in the store, look it up. Is it going to work where you want it to work? And that's, get a little information on the plant before you buy it. Don't just buy it and go, oh, I'll figure it out later. And second, moving on to at the nursery. When you're at the nursery, inspect the plant, inspect for pests. You know, scale, mealybugs, spider mites, aphids, anything like that. A lot of times it can be hard or difficult to pick up on that in a greenhouse because they are watering with a garden hose more often than not. So it's going to knock a lot of the pests down, but they're going to get right back up. Look at the soil. Are there weeds in it? Is there grass growing in it? Is there mold growing on it? How about mushrooms? Those are all really good indicators of how the plant was, what kind of nursery the plant came from. So moving on, if you've inspected it, it looks really good. When you get it home, douse it down with dish soap and water. Obviously test it on the plant first, but spray every orifice of the greenery and the stems that you can and get it really nice and clean. Clean it up really good before you bring it into your home. Take off the super damaged leaves. Get rid of them. Clean it up, leave the healthy foliage. Then once you bring it inside, quarantine it. Put it in a separate room from the rest of your plants. Now this is something that I've just started doing because after 5 months, I've acquired a crap load of plants. More than the average Joe. So quarantine it. What happens if it starts showing signs of, like, God forbid, scale? I hate scale so bad. But, which brings me to another tool. Summer Rayne Oakes here on YouTube is phenomenal. She is going to give you... My plant keeps turning toward the light because this is a pinstripe calathea, in case you did not know. Anyhow, Summer Rayne Oakes gave me a great way to deal with a lot of pests, and something that they can't grow an immunity to. Like, spider mites can get resistant to neem oil or dish soap and water treatments, whatever. If you introduce they're called green lacewings, and that's what I use for my scale infestation of February of 2018, which was horrible. I lost a majesty palm to it, and I'm a little off put by it, but I'm giving this other majesty palm a shot. Anyhow, let's get back into it. Introducing green lacewing larvae to the house was phenomenal. I mean, it demolished the scale problem, but I did end up euthanizing my majesty palm because I think it was too far gone. Anyhow, check her out. She's going to give you a lot of helpful information. And we'll move on to water. Pre-watering, before you water your plant. The night before, now I take my water and I put it in the sprinkling cans the night before. One, it's going to allow the water to get to room temperature, which nobody likes a cold shower, not even your plants. 2, it's going to allow the chlorine to settle out if you live in the city, which I do. So plants don't really care for chlorine, so leaving it sit out overnight before you water is a phenomenal thing to do for your plants. Speaking of sitting it out the night before you water, don't water your plants anytime but the morning. In the morning, it's going to give the day, throughout the day, a little bit of that extra water is going to dry out. It's going to put a little bit more humidity around the plant. Watering your plants at night is like leaving your baby in a dirty diaper overnight. Like, nobody wants to sit in a wet diaper. So watering in the morning is so beneficial. On to, what kind of moisture level does your plant want? Does it want to be drier? Does it want to be more humid? You need to do that research before you bring it home, because it's pretty crucial to know when you should water your plant. With this calathea, now calatheas are generally more of a picky plant. These plants hold a lot of movement, and that's the draw. That and the red backs of a lot of the varieties' leaves. Now that she's all turned, now you can see a lot of the red on this side. They are quite finicky, and they do like a lot of moisture. Now this girl was not treated very well at the nursery. She was left in direct sunlight, which they do not like. What I have done for her is I got her a pebble tray here, which I do not typically do. I have Cat's antique furniture and a cat that likes to play in water, so antiques and cats with water do not work out too well in my favor here. So they got to be in pretty bad shape for me to use a pebble tray. Other ways you can get humidity into the air: boil water, get a humidifier. Can you keep the plant in your bathroom? A lot of plants really love bathrooms. Like a calathea would do great if I had enough sunlight in my bathroom. Grouping your plants together also helps with humidity. They love that. Are they next to a heat register? Because a calathea would not do well next to a heat register. That's going to dry your plants out. You need to be checking in more, reading more into your specific environmental cues. Where are your heat registers? Don't put your plants there. Simple as that. And past water, we got soil. Pay attention. Does it like more acidic soil? Does it like more alkaline soil? That's important when you're repotting and fertilizing. Also, how much drainage does it want? Does it want a loamy soil? What does it want? You need to learn that before you repot your plant. Like, say ferns, for instance, they like a moist, well-drained soil. So peat moss, great for moisture, well-draining, sand and perlite. Alkaline, coffee grounds, acidic, pine needles, believe it or not. I would believe it. Anyhow, you can be Googling this stuff. What's going to make the soil more acidic? This, that, and the other thing. And look up recipes for certain types of potting mixes that you can make at home. Like for your succulents and cactuses or your ferns and calatheas. Be aware. What kind of sunlight does it want? Does it want direct sunlight? Like insane sunlight, like cactuses or succulents? Put them in a west-facing window. You want something that's really bright and filtered? East-facing window gets morning light. That's really good for bright light, generally more filtered in the afternoon because the cooler sun is peering through the window, but the hotter sun isn't really beaten directly through the window itself, if you know what I mean. So, like with my east-facing window, I have a covered porch. So they're only subjected to really early morning direct sunlight, which does not seem to affect any of them at all. It's also a rolled glass window, which can make it really hot. It's like a magnifying glass. Like it's that wavy textured glass because my house is so old. So that's going to make it even hotter than like your standard double pane window. So the old windows, that's also really bad in the winter. Some of my plants need to move back from the window in the winter. They can't handle it. Boy, fertilizer. What do I do for fertilizer? A lot of my plants get half-strength Miracle-Gro once a month. My needier plants get a little bit more fertilizer. Maybe they get fertilizer at half-strength every 2 weeks or full-strength fertilizer once a month. I'll make up a special batch for certain plants, but most plants just get a once-a-month half-strength fertilizer because a lot of my plants are ivies and pothos that don't need a lot of attention. So, but do need some fertilizer. But read into it. Get a good feel for what your plant wants and let it talk to you because it's going to tell you. So, and that's pretty much it for tips and tricks that I can give you at this moment. But please, until next time, enjoy your planting and happy growing.